Good morning, good morning. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Give a few minutes for people to get on. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Money Matters Morning Show. Come on in. Come on in, come on in. We're going to get started here in just a few moments. Come on in. Tag and share your friends and come on in. I'm playing with these filters this morning, so give me one moment and we're going to get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Money Matters Morning Show, where we talk all things faith, finances, and the freedom of good credit. And I am your host, Nefateria Robinson, and I'm a certified professional life coach, as well as an author of this wonderful book, How to Act, Activate Your Faith, Commit to Your Plan, and Take Action That Will Change Your Life. And you can get your copy at bit.ly/how2ACT. So this morning, we're talking about six tips for dealing with debt collectors. But before we get into that topic, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. One of the first scriptures I learned was, "Owe no man nothing but to love him. For he that have loveth hath fulfilled the law." And that was one of the first scriptures my mom taught me. And that was Romans 13:8. And she would walk around the house all the time saying, "Oh, no man, nothing. Oh, no man, nothing. Oh, no man, nothing." And so as I developed my own relationship with Christ, I understood that it actually came from a scripture, and it was about money and owing people and making sure that you was a good steward of what you've been blessed with. So also in the fourth grade, I learned how to balance a checkbook. And I learned how to balance a checkbook because we had an assignment in my school, in my class, that we had to bring in gently used items, and we had to bid on the items. And if we won the item, we had to pay for it via check. And so with that opportunity, I learned how to write a check as well as balance a checkbook. Because what happened was I bidded on 2 items. And when I went to write the checks for them, I realized that I didn't have enough money in my account to cover both items. So at that moment in time, I had to make a decision about which item I wanted more than the other, and say no to myself for something that I truly wanted because I didn't have enough money to cover those expenses. Then at the age of 25, I bought my first home, and I was able to do that without any money down, without any cosigner, but it took a lot of work. It took me working at that particular time 3 jobs. It also took me, making necessary sacrifices, making sure that I was keeping my debt to income ratio low, making sure I was paying my bills on time, and things of that nature. So I love talking about all things faith, finances, and the freedom of good credit. And so on the Money Matters Morning Show, you can catch me here every morning. Good morning to whoever just joined me. How are you? You can catch me here every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about those things. And if you happen to have any questions about debt elimination, credit, saving, or budgeting, you can submit your question at bit.ly/asknef. So let's get into today's topic. So some of you may have some unpaid or forgot about bills that went to the debt collector. But I don't want you to panic if that happened to be your situation or something that might have happened to you. It's even happened to me, and I'll talk about that as we go along with these tips. So you have plenty of rights, and I just want you to know you do have rights, and that's because of the Fair Debt Collection Act. You have rights, so don't fret. If you are getting those phone calls and things like that, that act is in place to protect you. But these are 6 things you should know if a third-party collector does decide to give you a call in reference of past due debt. First of all, you need to get the information in writing. So they should be able to give you the information in writing within 5 days of the phone call that you have with them. They should be able to tell you the amount that you owe, the name of the creditor that they're collecting on the behalf of, and what action that you can take if for whatever reason you do not believe that you owe this particular debt. So before you get into a whole lot of chit chat with these individuals, make sure that they submit you the proper information within 5 days of the phone call, that the name of the creditor, the amount that they're saying you owe, and what is your options if you believe that this is not something that you actually owe. Number 2, if you don't believe that you actually owe this money, you can dispute it in writing. So like I said, I was going to tell you about my own personal story. So when I was stationed in Louisiana, I took a couple college classes. So I figured because I had the GI Bill and because I was in the military, that my college expenses was covered. So I took a class, and for whatever reason, I had to withdraw from the class. So I thought the amount for that class was actually paid in full. And what ended up happening was I pulled in my credit report annually every year, and I noticed that this amount from this school was on my credit report. So I contacted them. I wrote them a letter and say, please show me proof that I actually owe this money. And they was able to submit where I signed off, saying basically if you didn't complete the class and if you didn't pass it with a certain grade, or if you withdrew for any reason, that you were, responsible for the amount of the class. So with that, I paid the amount that I owed them, and I was able to get that negative mark off my credit report. So like I said, if you send a letter to them that you don't owe them the money, then they cannot contact you any further. But once they submit you proof, like in my scenario with it, and I was in the class in Louisiana, they submitted me proof. So then, they had every right to contact me because they was able to show that I signed off saying that if I didn't complete the class, or if I withdrew early, or I didn't make a certain grade, that I will be responsible for the cost of the class. So make sure you get a copy of that letter and you keep it with your paper trail. But like I said, if for whatever reason they do provide you proof, then they have every right to continue to try to collect on that debt. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, all right. Okay, so number 3, keep records of the phone calls and messages that you're having with the third-party collector. Make sure you keep a file of those notes, of those phone conversations, the dates, the time, the person's name that you spoke to, what's the gist of the conversation, what they said they would do, what they said they wouldn't do, and things of that nature. Make sure any written correspondence, you also keep that in that file as well, to and from the collector. Anything you get from them or anything you're sending to them, make sure you keep that in that file as well. If for whatever reason it comes to a situation where they are breaking the law, you do have a paper trail to back up your statements. Also, number 4, debt collectors have many restrictions. So I'm going to go over those restrictions with you right now. So they can't use abusive or obscene language when they talk to you. They can't harass or repeatedly call you. They cannot call you on your job if you tell them no longer to do so. Also, they can't call you before 8 a.m. or they can't call you after 9 p.m. They can't talk to no one but you or your attorney reference your debt. They can't misrepresent the amount of the debt. They can't act like they're an attorney or a law enforcement agency, or if they're calling from the credit bureau, they cannot falsify who they actually are. They can't do that. If they threaten to sue you or to garnish your wages, they have to actually be intending to do that process. They can't just use it as a tactic to get you to pay. And number 5, say little and stand firm. Keep your conversation short with this third-party collector. They're really trying to interview you and interrogate you and find out if you have the ability to pay. So I want you to stay calm and focused no matter what they say. As some of you know, I do help out with my family business, and I affectionately call it running the empire. And so as part of the person that does the HR and also runs some shifts, sometimes I have to write up some of the employees for lateness or failure to come to work or not calling or bringing in a doctor's note when they're were out of work due to sickness. And sometimes they want to give me, their reasons why I should understand their plight. But at the end of the day, if they know the schedule, they know they were required to be at work and what time they're required to be at work and what's the policy as far as if you're out due to sickness, you're required to bring in a doctor slip, you have to call at least 8 hours prior to your shift for call outs and things of that nature. Then no matter what situation they had, what plight they had, that doesn't matter. I stay focused on the facts at hand, which is you were due to report to work at a certain time, you were aware of that, and you failed to do so. So even when you talk to those debt collectors, stay calm, stay focused, stick with the facts. And number 6, don't be afraid to negotiate. The debt collectors really just want to get something out of this debt that you possibly owe. So just make sure you have a good chance to work something out with them. Start with 10 to 15%. When you're negotiating, they probably settle around 30 to 50%, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Start at 10 to 15% of what you actually owe. And before you pay anything, make sure you get some kind of details in writing where y'all have negotiated this agreed upon amount for the debt that you owe. Also make sure when you do decide to pay them that you pay them with a cashier's check and don't pay with a personal check. Don't give them any access to any of your banking information. Also, another strategy is pay for deletion. So sometimes you can pay in full and negotiate that they delete it in its entirety. Now, if they do agree to that, you definitely need to get that in writing as well. And they will, the collector will actually be the person that contacts the credit bureau asking to remove this. Now, the credit bureau really doesn't like this practice, but it is legal and it can be done, but you have to ask. It don't hurt to ask. They may do it and they may not. Either way, just go ahead and try to ask for that as well if it's something that you know that you owe. Just like me with my situation when I took the class. Once they submitted that to me and I read the fine print and I knew I had withdrew from the class and did not complete the class, I owed the money. So, I was willing to pay for it in full to get that remark removed off my credit. If you actually had a situation where you really forgot or lost or the bill or didn't get the bill for whatever reason, that may be an option for you to pay for deletion. So just to recap really quickly, the 6 things to do to deal with third-party debt collectors. Make sure you get the information in writing is number 1. Number 2, if you do not believe that you owe it, make sure that you send a letter in writing disputing the transaction. Also, make sure you're keeping good phone records and the messages and correspondence that you're having to and from with the collector. Make sure that you know that they're not violating any restrictions that they have. Number 5, stay little and stay firm. Stay focused. Stick to the facts when you communicate with them. Also, do not be afraid to negotiate. Do not be afraid to negotiate. Thank you so much for watching this morning. You can catch me here every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please tag, please share. If you have any questions reference saving, debt elimination, credit, or budgeting, please feel free to submit it at bit.ly/AskNefR. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.